Amid the cost of living crisis and more warnings of continued price increases, new data has revealed over a quarter of people in the UK say they or their family have struggled to afford period products in the last year.
Yeah, charities have reported a 78% increase in demand for free sanitary products during the first quarter of 2022 compared to the same period in 2020.
Well, we're joined now by Celia Poole, co-founder of Dame, and Liz Lowndes and Comfort Oluwakoya, I think I've said that right, two youth campaigners on the same subject against what they're calling period poverty. So if I can come to you first, Celia, what is Dame all about? And is there anything, is it a purely feminine issue or does it affect everybody, as I said?
Thanks, Anne. So Dame is a sustainable period product company and we launched only 3 years ago. And in answer to your question, it affects the whole population. 100 billion period products are thrown away every year. And that is waste that is going into all of our environments. And I think the big thing which we try to do and tackle at Dame is not only period shame, so women feeling like they're being held back at school because of all these limitations around it, but period poverty and also all this plastic waste. So there's a big effect that's going on, not just to women, but to whole humankind. Because if girls are missing days of school, if women are missing weeks at work, that is affecting us all.
Come to the girls. Liz and Comfort. Comfort first. Do you come across friends, other young people who simply cannot afford the sanitary products they need to live a meaningful life?
It's such a sad reality, but I do. Even myself, I've struggled in the past and I see it with my friends all the time. And it's such a weird problem because you think in a country and in the day we are today, people wouldn't still have to struggle with period products. But it is a reality that a lot of people are facing, including my friends and myself in the past.
Yeah. It is an expense, isn't it? It's an expense every single month that you can't do anything about.
Yeah, exactly. You have to do it. And I don't know, people turn to other ways, having to use tissue roll instead and other things because there's no way of avoiding it. It comes every single month of your adult life until, yeah.
Yeah. Liz, does this sound familiar?
Yeah, it's definitely a struggle that I think many teen girls are facing. But I think a positive that I am seeing a lot more now is that schools and colleges are providing free period products, which is extremely helpful during this period. However, outside of term time, I think tons of, girls are going to struggle. So I think the government are definitely going to introduce or should introduce some more schemes to help girls out because having a period products, it's not a luxury, it is a necessity. So it's a sad reality seeing this affect women and girls today.
So Celia, is it actually reasonable to expect period products to be free? Because that's a long time over any woman's life. It's an enormous expense. Can we really expect the government or the industry to come up with something that would make it free?
I think being free totally is a very difficult thing. I think definitely we can push towards being free in schools and free to people who really need it. The issue sometimes around things being free is people don't actually value them, and therefore we create a lot more waste because people see these things as disposable. But one of the most economical things people can do is move to reusable products, something which we really advocate at Dame. Because by moving to reusable, you're not having to go back every month and purchase these things. So the more and more we can get people to be comfortable with their bodies and accepting of reusables, the easier this problem is going to get.
Interesting you say that, the more society accepts, they've got to be able to talk about it. And I gather, even according to the latest opinion polls, something like 48% of girls are still very embarrassed talking about it at all. What can we do about that?
We need to get into schools and make this actually part of the curriculum, make it sure that it's being taught to both boys and girls from a young age in an age-appropriate way, because the more we can make people comfortable with their bodies, it has a huge ripple effect in the rest of their lives. And periods are only just one part of it. So we really need to push towards opening up this conversation, making sure that it's not stigmatized and making people feel comfortable.
Yeah, Comfort and Liz, if I could just start with you, Comfort, those kind of conversations, what is it like in school?
In school, it's really strange because we have free period products at our school, but it's not in the bathrooms. We have to ask in the pantry or go to a certain teacher, as if it's shameful for it to be out in the open, and it has to be a secret thing if you really need it. And then that adds shame. You have to go and speak to someone about the fact that you can't afford period products, or the fact that you've forgotten and everyone knows you're now on your period. And oftentimes the person having this conversation with you is male. And there's a lot of this stigma that has to be broken, because it adds to the woman's life, and it's so detrimental, and that it's just so embarrassing feeling like you have to reveal what is seen as shameful to the whole world.
Yeah.
I don't know if either of you have been to mixed schools, but what are the boys like? What is their attitude? Are they? I know my sons are quite happy to talk about this with their girlfriends, but they're a bit older. I mean, at school, is it still difficult for boys to be able to talk about this sensibly?
I think that that's quite an interesting question. I think that, unfortunately, there are still boys who have very immature attitudes towards periods. There are definitely more that are, accepting and, understand that if you're going through your period, that you may be a bit off that day. But unfortunately, you still get comments such as if you're, in a bad mood, oh, are you on your period? So there is still immaturity around that topic. So I definitely think that education around periods needs to be a lot more rigorous, and maybe even start earlier, because I was quite young when I started my period. I was around 11 and we hadn't started period topics in school yet. So I definitely think that's something we should target.
Yeah, it's as important for boys to get as educated on it and be comfortable talking about it as it is for girls. Listen, really good to talk to all of you this morning. Thank you so much for joining us.